bills or something, a slightly like assisted or something. I don't know what it is, but essentially whatever it is, they end up basically being like, oh, I have like money, but I have like nothing to spend it on because they have just about everything they want and stuff because, yeah, a little bit of fucking financial freedom and stuff, you know? Oh, fuck. I thought that was a dog for a second there. I nearly like freaked the fuck out. No, it is good though. Like, I knew of a lot of military people because when I worked in the computers, obviously a lot of military people came in to buy like really nice, like lavish PCs and stuff. Mate, I can barely kill you. Oh man. Very little confidence in the accent speaking skills before applying for a job. Mate, how fucking hard are you to kill? Holy shit. That was unnecessarily difficult. I don't want to try to get food there. I want to... Well, man, I wandered off. I should probably go back there for, like, nighttime and get food and shit. I applied for that job being declined, but after it got declined over my accent, I've straight up not spoken from that very moment. Oh, Keelan. I know that, like, stuff like this affects you pretty deeply as well. You good, you pair? Fucking Azula's in here sneezing. I remember back before Christmas, like, you literally, like, went and hung out in one of your, like, regular streamers, like, fucking channels, and, they were, like, having a shit day or something and, like, went off at you. And, like, you literally just stopped talking for, like, a week or something. And I was like, I kept seeing you come in and lurk, and it took you like a week before you started talking again. I'm like, you know, I don't know. Fucking back off, mate. Why are they so hard to kill? I put them on normal. If this is how hard they are to kill, this is going to be really, really difficult. There we go. For integration for me. I'm glad that I'm starting with this. Yeah. Oh, man. Barbas, what the fuck are you up to? What are you yippieing about? Well, yeah, obviously I killed the thing, so it is a yippieable moment. I just need to find... Well, I've got water. I probably could drink this. I should raid that house and see if it has more, like, food and water and stuff. See how it goes. This one straight up full ignored me and never replied. Oh my god. That's actually pretty common. In this day and age, basically... You can apply for a job, and it's essentially the same thing as just putting your resume in, like, a bin. Like, it's never going to come back to you. You're never going to get a response. You'll never get a call. You'll never get a text message. You'll never get anything. That's just how applying for jobs are nowadays. And I know, because, like, before I obviously, like, you know, basically before I had my last job, dial it all the way back. Before my last job... As I said, I spent 4 years unemployed while I was, like, essentially dying and then, like, recovering from dying and looking for work and stuff. Because in Australia, if you're on unemployment, even if you're, like, medically basically dying, to receive government support, you still have to be applying for jobs and, like, accepting interviews and shit like that. So I still had to do that, which was kind of useless because obviously I bombed the interviews because I look like fucking death. And yeah, so I applied for like hundreds of jobs every single fucking week, and like some of the stuff weren't even any like relevance to me anymore because like I just was running out of jobs to apply for and stuff because like at the time when I was looking for work, we had like a massive government like kind of kick out where all these people that had like 30 plus years experience were suddenly unemployed. So I basically had like no hope. There were all these people with way more experience and like higher qualifications and stuff like that looking for employment in the same exact pool of jobs of work that I was looking for. So like, yeah, I wasn't exactly going to stand up against that, especially since like I had very like mixed skills, but I didn't have certificates and shit. So yeah, that kind of sucked. But yeah, essentially after that, after I did get that job, and it basically mentally destroyed me, and kind of had that mental break for like 2 years and whatever. Once I kind of recovered from that, I started applying for jobs again, I was so fucking like down about it. It brought me down so quickly because like just the whole process of the applying, the never hearing anything back, the rejections, the phone interviews that like I have phone anxiety anyway, so of course that like stressed me out even more. Which of course made me sick as well. And then interviews and yeah, all that stuff. And you know, you get rejected because people are like, why have you been unemployed for so long? And it's like, you can't exactly turn around and say, oh hey, I had a mental break after the last place like failed to keep the thing that keeps me employed, you know, the contracts that keep me employed. So yeah, no, can't exactly just walk around and just say that to a new employer because they don't accept that shit. They're like, no, fault's got to be with you. It's like, bitch, I was made redundant. I actually technically semi-made myself redundant by making my job too efficient to a point where it didn't need additional staff. That was a my mistake, you know. You learn from those ones. But yeah, it was very demotivating. And then like I looked at some of the workplaces and stuff like that because I went for several interviews. And all I felt like was there was so much like, you know, the thought of going back and dealing with the compatibility of co-workers and like office drama bullshit. And I'm like, what if this job that seems like it's good is another one of that? And then I just end up being like mentally broken or something like that for like who knows how long. Like all sorts of stuff like this, you know? Data engineers working with SQL, Oracle, kind of stuff, database, data-oriented programming. AI can say, also all I can say is I'm very good at overthinking everything. And there you are. But let's get back down here. That's going to break my leg. There we go. I just want them to come down to me. Overthinking everything. And coming down to a conclusion that I annoy people would be obviously don't. Stop being a creep, mate. Fucking be a zombie. Whoa, shit. Fucking hell. I wish that they took fall damage, you know? Look, I do a lot of overthinking, but I've kind of like channeled my overthinking into introspection. So, like I said, in the like last year or two, I have really spent like a lot of time. I need to go outside of this building. I've really spent a lot of time like looking inwards and looking back. Oh, fuck off, love. Looking back on stuff, like I said with the other day with the gym and shit. Like, there's certain things that like I look back on and I'm like, why didn't I see this back then? And it's because like back then I was so preoccupied with like everything else going on, I couldn't see this shit, you know. And it's like a third of it. Web scraping, data mining, pipeline setup. It's like sewage work, digger, but for data. Sweet Jesus. I don't know if that's a good way to say that. Really wouldn't have a great zombie actor. What? Really would have been a great zombie actor. What, me? During like the shit that I've been through? Probably. I don't know. I was in after the last job, I was in a state of like, I could barely function. Like, I think I kind of like had to be reminded to like just basic stuff. Like I struggled to get out of bed. That was the main thing. But like, you know, functioning as a human, getting dressed, showering, just fundamentals of like eating, stuff like that. Genuine struggles every day to even like complete one of those kind of stuff. So yeah, my partner helped hugely with all this stuff. Like made sure that like I was at least like taking care of myself to some capacity and stuff. Plus, experience is another bullshit thing. My country applied for junior or assistant positions. You did have 1 to 2 years of experience in that field. Like, what the hell, mate? Where am I supposed to get experience if no one's hires people without said experience? So the jobs that are like want you to have experience on a junior position, what they actually want to do is they want to gauge the interest in that position. They also want to try to basically rip off somebody into taking that position with the experience and therefore getting to pay them less for their skills and stuff. So that's how it kind of works. Because like even at one point, like when I was kind of like getting desperate with trying to find work, I was starting to even look at like junior positions, even though like I've had like what do you call it, like store management and like supervision and fucking literal like decade of like experience and some stuff. Is that a horde or are they just two people out here? Are they just two people chilling? So yeah, like I looked at stuff like that and like one of the people were like literally said to me, it's like, why are you applying for this job? Like, you're not going to be happy here. And I'm like, you don't know that. You don't know how much like a small amount of money can make like a huge difference. If your day-to-day is zero and somebody's offering like enough to cover at least the travel and like maybe like additional on top of that without like without incurring too much additional expense, that's a fucking step in the door. And then once you're employed, people like once you're employed, and then they could go, okay, so you work for this place, which means that if you were to leave that place, you probably wouldn't struggle as much to like get into the groove of like getting up, being on time, and like, you know, all the general shit that comes with jobs and stuff, right? So then you're automatically like a better looking candidate on paper. So yeah, like people don't fucking know what value a position holds to you until, you know, you actually have that position, and or like unless they've been in that position themselves, you know, as in like looking for something just to get into a job kind of thing. But yeah. Data mining is epic. Well, it's like digging around in a scraper. You never know what gem you're gonna find out. Lol. Exactly, if you manage yourself right, I'll go studies where I'll learn maths required to analyze that shit properly. So we're in the middle of a data forest, stumbling from tree to tree, statistically analyze the data. Oh my god. Will allow you to rise above the canopy, the whole picture. I don't know what you're on about, but like you're fucking sounding like you're a majestic beast in a fucking woods or something. And I'm sure you're talking about like data stuff. It sounds like a great recruitment flyer quote, Lamau. Yeah, it does, right? It sounds like something that you would probably read somewhere. I should probably go drink from that river. And make her sick though. My theory is it doesn't matter to me if she's gonna get... I prefer if she doesn't die because then that would make it easier for me to keep track of deaths and shit later. But Twitch Tracker, the integration thing, does a pretty good job of keeping track when I go down and die and shit. So, yeah, and it should be fine. Yeah, I'm a majestic beast in the woods. Why are you surprised? I don't know. I literally don't know. You're like a silvery gold fucking, I don't know. I was gonna say antelope, but I don't feel like antelope's quite right. Like, they're sort of majestic until like they like run over like a small twig, in which case they just like turn into a barrel roll. Was that a chicken? Just down here. It looked like there was a chicken, and then it looked like it fell through the ground. It might have. Anyway, I guess that happened. Is that a wolf? Man, I know you're a fucking wolf. Like, I don't know. If only Viking could like weigh in on that situation. You like run off into like the wilderness or whatever. This will happen. I need to find a food, but I'm not going to find an animal to hunt for a while. I was hoping that that house would have something in it. Especially since it was loot boxes and stuff. It's supposed to give you like a bit of stuff to begin with. So in all honesty, I'm not going to need that. Not going to need that. I won't be doing any seeds. I don't need sand, I don't think. I could have sold that probably. That is food. Feathers might be useful. And I probably won't need mechanical parts and stuff. Probably not paper and shit. Like, I won't be able to use a bench. So I kind of want to head towards cities, I guess. Like, there's a building over here, but I don't trust it. God damn. Like, the temperature in this room, I swear. I kind of want to take my jumper off. But I know as soon as I take my fucking jumper off, I'm gonna be cold. But I also need to keep my jumper on to keep everything fucking limber. Like, I don't have the aircon on tonight for obvious reasons. I'm trying to keep my body warm. But it's frustrating me. This feels like it's the only green patch here and I've got to go into the desert, which is not ideal because birds and direwolves. Although I shouldn't see any at this level. Should be fine. Hey mate, I'll tell you what, it's almost night time. I'll probably get up onto, I don't want to like just get up onto that building because like, I don't know. I could make some arrows, I guess. Speaking of majestic antelopes, what do you want about? I don't know. I think the thing, Keelan, is like the job market is like brutal. This is why like when people start looking for work and stuff, like the biggest thing I can usually say is like just prepare for it to be longer than you were expecting. Like not in a bad way, not in a oh you won't get hired kind of way, but like in a the job market is bullshit kind of way. And it's better to prepare and like kind of like keep everything more rationed and stuff and try to make it last longer and stuff because like yeah, it may have to, you know. And it honestly sucks that it has to at all. Like I heard something, I saw some brief thing in the paper, literally, well not in the paper, like in the online newspaper thing or whatever for my local area. Apparently they're going to try to provide so many homes and try to like solve a bit of homelessness and stuff. And I'm like, man, there's been a huge epidemic here since like I worked in the area ages ago. I've been called a deer for a bit because of the way I run. Lol. Fucking speaking of that, so not Shadow specifically, but like when I got up to get the drink before, because my hips are kind of like a little bit fucked up right now, and my knees, my ankles, everything, I really just felt like I like fucking waddled out to like the fridge to get my drink. And I'm like, it was probably the most ungraceful little stride I've had for a while. And I'm like, this is something. Like I got up faster than I was expecting. And then I started taking my first steps and everything started hurting. And I kind of like was like, you know how like when you like get like an ache or a pain, you kind of like lean away from it and you like ache. Well, I kept doing that with every fucking step in like different parts of my body. I'm like, I'm kind of waddling. Anyway, as a one great advice I hear nobody making is, this for the love of God, don't tie your self-worth to a job. Yeah, that is the hardest thing because anybody, like there's a few people I know that are like me in this sense. So I, for a long time, was like getting some like level of like self-worth out of, or self-accomplishment or whatever out of what I did for a living, with the view that like I didn't really have any specific goals for life, and I was pretty indifferent. I was happy enough to just like have a job, like have a roof over my head, and like just kind of like exist. Like, you know, not a picky person. I didn't need to be doing anything special or whatever. I feel like I could hear something then, but I can't see any zombies. I didn't feel like I needed to be doing anything, you know, and kind of like, I guess like I kind of worked really, really hard with the idea that like when I started work, like ambition would get you somewhere. Except that when I started work, as you guys know, in a really sexist place. And so basically, like, I had to work a lot harder and a lot more than my coworkers and stuff because I was female. And, like, essentially, like, it wasn't what I was hired for, but, like, ideally they would have just loved it if I just served coffee, answered the phones and greeted customers and shit. But I'm like, that shit bored me to tears. So yeah, anything other than that would be great. I literally got the job in the computer place with the view that I wanted to work on computers. Like I even had to prove that I could do that to get the damn job. I wanted to be a technician and shit. And then, as you guys know, like, I kind of, like, went through, like, all the different areas and, like, got all this extra experience. But, like, yeah, every step of the way, I had to be doing above and beyond just to be recognized as, like, you know, an equal to my peers and shit. And, yeah, I don't know. I thought I was being trained to like take over the place, and that doesn't seem to be what happened. I think they were just hoping that like they could kind of like, line me up with like more and more work and what do you call it? Like I got to a point where I think I was doing 5 people's jobs, and saving them like 3 wages. And they still wouldn't give me a increase, like a wage increase. And I wasn't asking for much. I think I just wanted like an extra $50 or something like that at the end of the week or something. Like obviously that's like $200 a month increase, but still, considering I was saving them like 3 people's wages and I was doing 5 people's jobs, I think, it's not an entirely acceptable thing to ask for. But yeah, that was a no-go. And yeah, it was just a shit place. But that kind of like set the precedent for me for like expectations of other jobs was, oh, if you work hard you can eventually like go up the ladder. But like I was also always told initially, it was like, oh, you're too young, people won't respect you as a manager. Then it's like, oh, well, you're a woman, so even if you do have the experience and stuff like that, like the customers aren't going to like listen to you anyway. And yeah, great shit. In hindsight, I sort of wish that I kind of didn't like push through with that place as long as I did. But young me just saw it as a challenge. It was like, oh sure, yeah, I can sit here and I can prove that I am worth that, and I'll earn it and stuff. So I don't know why rewarding the employees properly is such a wild goddamn concept to people. I know, right? Funny enough, I'll probably have to go and I'm in soon, so I don't know when I'm on call basis today. That's okay. If you have to go at like any moment on the fly, just go. Like, I know that like I tend to like make people kind of like stay longer than they intended to when they said like the heading off and stuff. By all means, if you got to go at any point, just fucking go. I'll fucking still be here. I always find some sentence to justify whatever it is they're doing. Exactly. That's the thing, is as a 36-year-old woman, I know that now. As a, say, 17-year-old or 16-year-old girl or whatever, technically I started there when I was like 14 and a half, but still, like, I was like, oh, it's just, this is the next barrier, this is the next step, this is the next thing that I have to just complete to get up the rank. My person has no stamina because I'm like dehydrated, so it's taking forever to get this back. But yeah, that's like just how I kind of saw it, was, oh, this is the next thing I've got to do. But I never understood back then that, yeah, the next step was, it was never ever going to actually be offered in the first place. It was always just going to be, you can do this job and you aren't like kind of like complaining loud enough to like get a pay rise or like leave. So essentially the real red flag should have been the fact that they had a turnover of about 300 staff on average in a year for a business of like 10 to 20 staff. So yeah, it was extremely bad turnover. They were cruel. They were awful to their employees. I just, unfortunately it was very similar to my home life, so I just didn't think it was anything different. I just thought it was normal. So yeah, I just had no other experience impacting my will to stay and persevere. Words are hollow, actions speak. Exactly. That's the thing, is like, I don't know, with jobs, I can't trust that like somebody be like, oh yeah, we'll give you a raise in whatever time after we assess if you're entitled to it because of, skills and stuff. Like the last place I was working at, like, it's not so much about, oh, getting a raise and stuff. It's about being valued for what you do. And all the places that I've worked, I've always taken on additional work. I've always been the person that sees like my coworkers struggling, and I happen to be organized and I happen to finish my work quickly and efficiently and like sort out ways where I can make it more efficient so that then I could do it even faster. And so then I have free time. So I sit there and I'm like, hey, you know what I should do is just ask them, do you need help? And if they say yes and the boss is cool with it, I'll assist. But obviously, like, yeah, that's where I fall into a trap of like assisting people, and then I take that particular task off them. I end up taking the task off them because I generally do it better. And then I end up getting like more and more work, which I do end up like integrating into like my schedule and getting done. So yeah, it's never really, it's not like it's ever really like an issue for me. I can handle so much fucking workload, but I really shouldn't, unless like somebody's willing to like increase that. And that's the thing, is the last place I worked at, they were like, you get reviewed, you have an employee review like in, I think it was a year after, it was 6 months after employment, and then it was 1 year after that. And when I got reviewed, they were like, you know, for whatever reason, blah blah blah, insert, you know, bullshit here, we're just going to keep you at what you're currently at. I don't know if she's going to make it all the way up here, to be honest. Yeah, anyway, so then it's like, okay, well, actually she should be able to make it all the way up here now that I think about it. Just it depends on how intelligent you are getting up here, mate. She's got the door first. Anyway, so yeah, basically, I was hoping that after a year or so... You're a feral, I might die. I was hoping after a year or so that at least consider like the workload increase that it had and my performance and stuff, especially since like I went from a position that didn't exist prior to me being hired. I turned it into like a $64,000 position in the first year, and then I quadrupled it by the second year. And then basically, oh yeah, I forgot that like she doesn't have shit. Oh, I should probably make her some clothes and crap. Yeah, basically by like the third year that I was there, I was bringing in like 2.5 million on the average like year annually for the company. But you know, even the entire time I was there, I think I got a pay increase of 10 cents from start to finish. So they were making bank. And yeah, I know that makes me seem like, oh, super stupid and shit, but like at the time I literally could see like their finances and shit like that. I was in that section too, and I'm like yeah, I'm like, okay, they don't really have money. Turns out that just the CEO was embezzling my position's income. So all the money that I brought into the company, which is part of where they had the beef, they basically went, why would we give you an increase? You're not making any money. And it turns out that he had managed to set up something right around the time when I started, and nobody noticed that basically he was just embezzling all the money that was coming in from my section. And so it was actually creating a negative for the company. So I was coming across as like a negative, like they were looking at like, oh, why we maybe get rid of this kind of thing. But of course, like the CEO is like, no, absolutely do not get rid of it. Anyway, when he got found out, only because I happened to mention it in the performance review. I'm like, I calculated up all the revenue that my position was bringing in, and I put all the facts. Like, I'm a detail-oriented person, right? So I put down all the facts, and I was like, this is what I have increased since point of hiring. This is what I have like improved in the company. Like, I literally took them from fucking paperless to the digital era and all sorts of shit. And they were like, they kind of took all my information. They're like, we will be reviewing this. And I heard nothing more about it. I kept asking, and then all of a sudden we started having like, you know, the ATO, which is the Australian Tax Office and stuff, was rocking up, and they don't just knock on your door for nothing and stuff. And yeah, basically the CEO basically just fled, and he'd embezzled millions. So yeah, after that it was like, you know, I could have probably earned a little bit more than 10 cents for bringing that shit to light, you know? But again, I was a person that was just grateful to have a job. So, and considering at the time we at that point entered into COVID, I wasn't about to like start stirring a pot, you know? Which I probably could have kicked an absolute stink, because if I had walked away at that point, they would have been absolutely shit. But I'd never do that to somebody, anybody, you know? You're making people stay longer. That's a weird way to say I'm such an amazing company. People don't really want to go back to their responsibilities. Lol. No, it's more like I've heard a few people complain that they're like, you're too fucking interesting. Shut up and let me leave. And I think that's not what they've said, but that's what they've said elsewhere. And I'm like, I don't know how to like fix that problem. Just like fucking leave. Yeah, I don't know. I will hydrate. That's right. I got an energy drink. Hold on. Let me drink that shit. What? Don't give me that look, Keelan. You don't have to leave if you're procrastinating. You don't have to leave. But like, if it's something that's like important, like if you're putting off like living your life and shit, for the love of God, don't let me stop you. Please prioritize your life and health first. Always. It's 10 cents. That's downright insulting. It was. The funniest thing was, so my manager at the time, on her way out, she was like, hey, you may notice a difference in your pay slip this fortnight, and you know, just let you know, it's not an error, it's correct, and blah blah blah. That's if you even look at your pay slip. And I'm like, oh cool. And I didn't know what she was on about, but she basically said that there was a pay increase, and I was like, oh cool, you know, maybe I got like $1 or something like that. I'm so fucking stoked, even if it's like just $1. It just like an acknowledgement, you know, a start, something to like open the floor to be like, I am being seen and valued in some capacity, right? Just a little step. Anyway, so I was pretty ecstatic. I went home and I was beaming, and I'm like, I might be getting like maybe an extra $1 or something like that. Anyway, I think it was like an extra $1 in the entire like fortnight. So